Here, check it out. She's sending away for all these colorful clinic brochures. I'm sure they're all FDA approved. Chechnya, isn't that where you go to get cancer? You got China and Central Mexico. Do you know how they say cancer in Mexico?
No.
L cheat codes. Welcome, everybody. It's August 4th, 2016. Welcome to episode 106 of the Cheat Codes Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We're always glad to have you with us. The next hour is us drinking a few beers and going over our favorite bits from the past week in video game tech and pop culture news. My name is Joe Erskine. I am your host, and we're coming to you from a brothel in New York City. And Anara from Firefly is here, and so is Erlich Bachman from Silicon Valley. And also there's a bunch of bikers. It's weird. Today I'm here with Cheat Codes contest organizer, Mr. Nick Weasel Golish.
Hey, how's it going?
And Cheat Codes community manager, Mr. Chris Colossus Morris.
Is that supposed to be ironic?
Well, you'll never know. And we're honored to welcome the Chiptunes musician known as Blood Code, Mr. Chris Chimichangas Allis.
Thanks, guys.
Today on the show, we'll punch a metal mutant in the junk and break our hand to sort out the following bits. We can't tell if we're old and cranky or if games are just harder and not as fun. We're going to take a look at the shady mess over at G2A and figure out how it affects us, if at all. And we'll ask ourselves an impossible question. Should we all spend less time online? Maybe. For today's lightning round, we'll propose to our girlfriends while they suggest butt stuff to explain the following topics. Russia thinks Pokemon Go is a CIA conspiracy. I can't even read that with a straight face, honestly. And lastly, we'll reminisce about Nintendo Power and how all of those issues are available right now online. You heard me right. For the older guys like me, that's an exciting thing. Anyway. Blood Code, man. Thank you. Welcome to the show. So glad to have you with us. Tell us what you're working on, or, just what's on your mind, or whatever. Who you're voting for in November. Don't answer the last one.
Yeah, no. Thank you guys for having me. I currently just wrapped up my last album, and it was titled Innuendo, which is, of course, all the titles on the record are video game innuendos. So I had a lot of fun with that album. But currently what I'm working on is I'm going to do an all LSDJ only album, because most of my stuff is like fusion, so it's a little bit of actual like Game Boys with some computer elements to it. So to, kind of make it modern sounding, but still have that cool old square wave edge from the systems. But recently, just playing a few shows, I saw a lot more value just going straight off the Game Boy. And so this entire new album will be completely written on just the Game Boy.
Right on. So when you're doing shows, how much gear do you need to bring to a venue? Like, are you rolling up like a U-Haul, or are you like packing up the Kia and rolling up like super deep and just unpacking a couple crates worth of gear?
Well, yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, for chiptune musicians, usually it's not too much. It's a small mixer. I mean, they're not using like Pioneer CDJs to do chiptune.
Right.
They're just rocking the simplest RCA, mixer that they can grab that has just some easy levels on it to adjust, and then their Game Boy.
Hey, look at that. Oh, it's gorgeous. Everybody out there listening can't see it, but it's like that clear plastic with the pink highlights and the proper cartridge in the back. Look, it lights up. Oh, my God.
It lights up.
That's pretty dope, man. That's pretty dope. And are you doing like a kind of partial like pre-recorded stuff and then doing like a button mash kind of like performance on top of it, or are you doing like just kind of mixing back and forth between pre-recorded songs like more like a DJ would?
Yeah, so that was exactly what I ran into. So I was doing it more traditionally like a DJ, and then I had a special mixer made with like actual arcade buttons and stuff that I would, trigger chords and samples live to play along with it while I was, DJing two tracks at once.
Right.
And it was cool, but, people just, they didn't get it. What I learned real quickly playing with some of my other chiptune friends is when they just went straight off the Game Boy, there was a wow factor that I didn't really think about too much with the Game Boy itself. Like, people would second look and go, wait, is that all they're playing everything off that thing? Like, everything I'm hearing is coming off that.
That's cool.
And then boom, they're instantly amazed. And then when I would have my stuff, they'd be a little confused. They're like, wait, what's happening? Is this DJing or is this, whatever? Because they wouldn't see all the components that were going into it. So, bringing a laptop to a chiptune show is like bringing a knife to a gunfight. So
it's an excellent reference.
Yeah, well, I mean, so in light of that experience in my last couple of shows, I'm like, I gotta just rewrite, an album or just write a new album just on the Game Boy, just because I feel like I'm losing some of that, what's cool about it without having it there.
So that new album then is kind of like Blood Code unplugged, like not literally, obviously, but it's like the stripped down, like this. I'm going back to my roots. I'm paying homage to where it all comes from, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. It's showing people like, no, this is where it all came from. I can do this. This is, something you all will enjoy, and it'll be fun to do live. And then, my other stuff it's great to listen to, but I think for live, I don't think the crowd that goes to those kind of shows like get it, because they're not the same crowd that goes to clubs,
Yeah.
And they're not like looking for bangers and stuff, and festival style music.
Sure.
So most of the people hit me up for my music for like their YouTube videos, for their own streaming and stuff. It quickly opened my eyes. I'm like, if I want to do more live stuff, I need to rely more on what I'm actually toting myself about.
Right, there's still like a certain amount of performance involved when doing that, and therefore like almost like you're playing the Game Boy like an instrument to a certain degree. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's exactly that. I mean, you're DJing on the Game Boy. I mean, there's some chiptune artists that DJ with 4 Game Boys at once, and it's pretty fantastic to watch.
That sounds really busy.
They're not looking up too much at the crowd, for those ones.
No, fair enough. Well, we're glad you're here, man. We appreciate it. Real quick, we'll let you do this again at the end of the show, but like let everybody know where they can come and check out your shit. Definitely bloodco.de. There's probably an easier way to tell people that website, but it's just bloodco.de. There it is.
So it's like...
All right. Fair enough. All right. So, very quickly, let's talk about what we're washing this episode down with. Sure, Deadpool hangs out at brothel biker bars where they bet on assassin success rates. We do a podcast about games and stuff. They're practically the same thing. So while it's customary to drink at bars, it's also customary for us to drink while podcasting. Today we're enjoying a few Fat Funk ales from the folks at Fat Tire Brewing. It makes breaking the fourth wall a whole lot easier. All right, so gentlemen, are we ready here? Yeah, ready to get started?
I hope so.
All right. Don't sound too impatient, Morris, if you can help it.
Number one.
There was a pretty funny op-ed published this week by a guy named Nate, just Nate, at barstoolsports.com. He complains that games are too difficult now. He proceeds to attempt to prove his point based on the fact that console controllers have more buttons than they used to and funnier shapes than they used to. And he concedes that the Wii made sense, but playing Madden these days against an 11-year-old is instant defeat. There's a lot to process there in that sentence, so just hang tight for a second. Is he right? Is this just an old man pining for simpler times? If he's right and we agree, does that make us just old and grumpy? I think we're all old enough here to remember the days of a 4-button controller with a D-pad on it, right? I'm speaking specifically to like an NES controller, or even like a Sega controller that had 3 buttons and a D-pad. Well,
you got
plus a start select, but functionally speaking, just from a really general level, like, do you guys feel like you miss the old days, or are games just as good, if not better, nowadays? And I'm not talking graphically, because that's the easy answer here.
That's a hard question, because I mean, I've played games my entire life, and so I I started with simpler controllers and worked my way up to more complicated stuff. If this guy just jumped in at the very end of it, then maybe I could understand.
Okay.
But controllers have been like tested and quality assurance for like the past 2 decades, and people have figured out how to make like the best ones, and they're all pretty much the same controller that comes out now. So
that Xbox Elite controller, holy shit! Just saying. Anyway, Mr. Morris or Bloodcoat, I mean, talk to me here. Like, would it be everything? Would life be better in general if we all just went back to the Atari joystick, or is it all right to have 4 triggers and two joysticks and a D-pad and all that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think this guy clearly either never picked up a Nintendo 64 controller. You know, I mean, and that's an old system. So, I mean, either this guy never played video games ever, or he only had a Nintendo. Like,
well, he does say that the last console that he allows in his own house is an N64. So it's weird, right? That he's got a 3-pronged, like the weirdest of weird
How
controllers.
Can you even write this article? That
exactly.
Sort of.
Yes. Here we go. No, I completely agree.
Yeah, that's like the most difficult controller I think I've ever experienced in my life. And, you know, some backstory on it. I know in the product testing department for Nintendo that controller specifically caused more blisters than any controller that they had ever put out during testing.
Yeah, sounds about right. I would not doubt that at all. I remember playing NBA Jam on N64 and having to like curl my thumb and my forefinger like around the top, not behind it like you're supposed to with triggers, but like around the top, just to be able to like get like the sprint working and the push working, and you know, take advantage of when I'm on fire. Like it was an uncomfortable way to play
back before
games.
you could like reassign controller buttons and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Morris, where are you stand on this?
Oh, God, dude. Games like SNES era, all I have to point out is something like Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Ugh.
And, I mean, like, games are not more difficult now. They're not. Kind of that aspect of, you know, you build this, like, repertoire of video game knowledge, like mechanics and things that get reused. So, like, when you pick up a new game, it's not, like, totally out of the question to be able to figure it out easily. I guess if this dude stopped playing video games at N64, then maybe he's just like way behind the times. I don't really know. This seems, I mean, it's on barstoolsports.com for fuck's sake.
Correct. I think the headline to me was the more interesting part. It's like, as I'm approaching 35 and I'm kind of looking around lately I've been playing Doom on the new Doom. And I'm like, this is fucking great, but it's also like, it's so fast, like I can't keep up. You know what I mean? Does that just make me old, or do I need to step up my game? I don't know, but like, I do remember playing things like, and he talks about GoldenEye, for instance, as like a total parallel, as like a first-person shooter. GoldenEye was a great game. Like, I remember enjoying the hell out of that. But I think if I went back and like tried to play it again now, like I don't know if it would hold up or not, but I am a little doubtful. Like it was cool being able to shoot a guy in the knee and then like have the knee be bloody or something, and that was like one of the first games to do that kind of thing. But the way, like, I think we're all spoiled by technology at this point, right? Like,
so I tried to go back and play GoldenEye, and I tried to play Perfect Dark as well on N64.
Sure, also a great game.
It's really hard. Like aiming and firing is actually quite challenging, especially on that N64 controller. I would say, if anything, like FPS from a sheer control standpoint, whether it's PC or console, is so much easier to play now across the board.
I would agree. Do you think like the people are better at games? Like, you're better at games as a kid because you have more time to do it, as opposed to, you know, like myself, like a, you know, damn near 35-year-old who's trying to figure out how to just, you know, navigate Banner Saga 2 because it was free on fucking Xbox Gold this month. You know what I mean? Or last month, rather. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have the time to devote to a game to get really good at it and be like a devoted and hardcore like online competitor, as opposed to.
I don't think it's you don't have the time. I think you know what you want to prioritize. Like, when Civ 6 comes out, that's going to be probably a complex game because it's a strategy game.
True.
And you're still going to devote the time to do it.
I'm going to play the shit out of that.
Yeah,
I'm going to play shit out.
So kids have more time to devote to more games, so they're better at they may be better at games because they have more.
So when they're not playing Minecraft, they're going to come kick my ass in Madden, which is kind of like this guy's problem. Yeah.
Well, Madden has its own problems in the fact that it's been adding new features every year that just compound on the features of the older years and stuff. And now you pick it up and it's a goddamn like textbook to figure out how to play the damn thing.
It's true. Well, okay. So do you think that's a bad thing? Like, I'm not saying we have to shit on Madden here. Like, I enjoyed Madden for many years. Like, I'm not a huge sports game guy, but it's like sometimes that repetition is fun.
When's the last time you played one though? Like Joe.
Probably
the other guy,
mid-2000s.
The other Joe picked up last year, and he gave up after like 2 hours because he figured out he had to play like 16 hours just to learn how to play the game. There were so many different types of controls.
Shit, yeah. Well, so they've made it it's simulator now. It's not just like a sports
it's football simulator. It's not a game. But
well, that might like speak to this guy, the guy Nate who wrote this article, speaks to his problem where it's like when I jump online to play Madden, like I can't hang because these 11-year-old kids who have 16 hours in a day to play all day long and have figured it out. It takes me weeks to get to that point.
They have the benefit of playing the older version, like the version that came before.
Well, so did I. I played a bunch of them.
Yeah, but you just said you skipped like 15 years of it or something.
Yeah,
so
I'm definitely out of the loop.
In those 15 years, they've added one new feature a year, which you can keep up with if you're a fan of the series.
Sure. Yeah.
But if you jump in 10 years later, now suddenly you're in career mode and like you got to figure out how to feed your family and not beat your wife or something. I don't know. I don't know the mechanics of the new Madden. But I assume
right? Do they include like the domestic abuse stuff into the story mode? I don't know. But
yeah, it's like the Tiger Woods from the Tiger Woods game from South Park.
Yeah. Oh man. No. I mean, yeah. It like Heavy Rain. You know, where like you just play a guy with a shitty life who had a kid that died. You know, it's like, wait a second, this is a experience I'm paying for, you know, like, and in Gone Home, I don't know if you've had the pleasure.
Not yet, but I've read enough and seen enough to kind of know what happens. But yeah.
Yeah, and well, you know, unfortunately, I didn't read the synopsis. It's a free download for me for PlayStation Plus, and so I just went in blind, and I was like, cool, man, this looks scary. I'm like, I bet there's gonna be ghosts and or something, a cult.
Not the kind you thought, though, right?
Yeah. yeah. Wasn't expecting the ghosts to pass, not what I signed up for.
More of a poetic experience, less of a literal one,
Yeah, but I mean, as far as this guy goes, and I mean, he should probably just stick to Nintendo consoles. I mean, the new Mario games, if you die 7 times in a row, Luigi shows you how to beat the level, or you're invincible,
There you go. There you go.
Well, where was that? Where was that when we played? When we played, if the power went out, it was all over. We had to start.
It's true. If you died once, you had to start the entire video game over, dude.
Or you're in an arcade, you got to put another quarter in.
Like that too, like roguelike at its finest. But like, my answer to this was going to be like, if I died in a Mario level, I'd go and find a copy of Nintendo Power. But we'll get to this a little bit later. I don't know. Final thought. Like, are we old, or have games evolved to the point where, like, you can sit here and say that, like, Dark Souls, for instance, is a difficult game. Is it more difficult than Super Ghosts and Goblins?
Battletoads.
Yeah, or Battletoads for that matter.
Yeah, Battletoads. Yeah.
Oh my god. I don't know, dude. Battletoads is rough as hell. Yeah. I still can't get through that game, and I can like crush Dark Souls like no one's business.
Exactly. I'm of the same
with
mind.
a guitar controller up your butt too.
A guitar controller up my butt,
or a DDR pad.
DDR pad. Mine personally, but somebody on the internet.
Oh, I thought we thought that was you, Chris.
It was a reference.
No, I don't have like that fine motor control of my sphincter muscles.
Still working. Are you doing your Kegel exercises, or?
I don't really put effort into practicing those too often. I've never really needed to.
Fair enough.
I just eat plenty of fiber, so I don't have to worry about it too much.
Stay regular. I understand.
What is the butt Kegel? I mean, would that be the sphincter, or like
No, I think it's still Kegel. Like it's still Kegel.
Maybe.
I think it's still the same thing. Like guys can do Kegels.
Yes, they can.
Yeah,
and name. I mean, for us.
So we'll call them Magels.
Bagels. Let's call them bagels.
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 There you go. You Britted it, dude.
Yeah, you Britted
it. Let's ruin it for everyone.
That's right. That's what we love to do here. All right, we can move on. I think we giving that guy enough shame as a Barstool Sports
I think
analyst.
He needs more shame.
Look, I don't think to wrap it up, I don't think games are harder. I think it's harder to get into a game. Maybe I think we've overcomplicated things to a certain degree based on what games used to be, but. I don't know. There's still more and more people playing them. So like,
I don't know. I think they're easier. I think people just don't have
I'm just saying we've overcomplicated the barrier of entry. That's all. Not necessarily the game itself.
Video games when they grew up, then they never had to do any sort of spatial learning. So 3D is just hard to
say that to the 80-year-old playing Skyrim, dude, with that lady. What's her name? Shelly.
Yeah, she got it just fine.
She figured it out. Yeah.
So is it that some people are just dumb and they can't learn new tricks?
I think people just want a bar stool to sit on and talk shit. Trust me, I was a bartender for many years. So,
Barstool, strip, blackjack or something.
Sure.
On those little arcade machines.
Nude photo hunt, dude. It's the best. It's great.
Cool. All right.
Well, precision and hit detection have come a long way. So I mean, if anything, there'd be a learning curve, but that's it.
That's pretty good. Bloodcode, I'm curious, have you ever tried to incorporate a N64 controller as a musical instrument in your endeavors?
Oh no, I don't hate myself that much.
And he doesn't have 3 arms.
I need 3 arms. Yeah, you need 3 hands to play that shit. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to, let go of Chris's dick in order to use it. and
we don't want that. We don't want that.
It's unacceptable.
But yeah, I mean, the reality, yeah. The only thing that I've entertained is we've used NES controllers, to augment and play from the Game Boy, as well as Wii remotes for really cool motion control.
Oh, like a zither type thing, like a theremin. Like a theremin, yeah. Sorry, exactly, a theremin, yeah,
Those ones are easier to control with your sphincter muscles as well. Not that I know from personal experience or anything.
Good, excellent disclaimer. All right, and with that, we'll move on.
Yeah, number 2.
When you have Steam keys that you want to sell, you probably use a site like G2A or G2A itself. Lately, there's been some concern about its lack of security and fraud prevention, but it's also promoted just about everywhere by popular streamers. Patrick Klepek over at Kotaku actually is one of the last pieces he's written before he's left. He's actually heading over to Vice because Vice is starting up a whole new games division, which is, thank God, another source for us to draw from and I don't know, use, but that's cool. But he wrote a piece about this, and it basically highlights some of the shadier shit, but it's not it's super vague. It's super weird. So I'm gonna try and break this down really quickly, and then we can all kind of chime in about it. Streamers who were partnered didn't want to be interviewed for this article specifically, but ones that had formerly been sponsored were happy to tell them that they thought there was some weird shit about G2A specifically, and the way that they marketed themselves, and the way that they kind of their whole marketplace worked, for that matter. So the benefit on paper is G2A, the site itself, is kind of a peer-to-peer way for people to sell extra Steam keys that they have for very cheap prices. Now, this, because of a lack of security or a neglect on fraudulent practices, people have been using stolen credit cards to buy Steam keys, sell them for cheap, and make them readily available and make a profit on it. So that's kind of bad. And then there are other sites I'm sorry, not other sites, but other studios that are dude, we were about to have a release, Tiny Build, the guys over there at that developer were kind of worried that they raised a big fucking stink. Actually, they kind of went after G2A by saying that we had a bunch of keys that we were giving out and we were going to do stuff with, but somebody picked them up and they bought them with a stolen credit card, and then you guys fucking sold them and ruined our launch. That kind of thing. It's kind of fucked up. And we're seeing the whole trend has been that while they continue to grow, G2A as a community and as a site, and their business continues to grow, more and more experienced and kind of streamers that have longevity within the community have kind of walked away from it, but they keep kind of picking up new ones and people that are just hungry for money and looking for sponsors as streamers. You know what I mean?
Streamers are looking for sponsors if they can get a good one.
Right. So there's a whole moral and ethics kind of question here, but at the same time, nothing's been able to have been proven. Nobody's willing to make a public statement about these guys, and I don't know. Shit seems real. Well, this is very mafia-esque. You know what I mean?
It's a moral question. Is it their obligation to provide some kind of service? I don't think so. Should they morally?
Well, they want to provide a service, but should they provide some sort of security or protection?
A security service is what I meant. Yeah. Like obviously they make some kind of cut off of the selling of the keys or something.
Yeah.
And the more keys that sell, the more money they make. It's an easy business model. Okay, enter people who want to make as much money as they can, or who can find some way to take advantage of this. Steal some games, sell the keys online. It's a black market for game keys in a way, because I don't
know if it's gray market.
They're selling illegal goods if they're stolen keys, I guess.
Sure, or bought with stolen money. Yeah, fair enough. Have you guys ever used G2A, Morris, or Blood Code?
I just read about this, today. But my first knee-jerk thought, not knowing really anything about that community, is that I think it's great that Blizzard employees that are underpaid have a way to recoup their salary by selling all those keys.
Goodness!
If I'm, so. Yeah.
Morris,
where did that even come from? I have no idea.
Well, I was just trying to imagine here where a lot of these keys are coming from, and I'm just like, well, wait, Blizzard will just hand out keys to their employees, it's kind of to give that cool factor of working for them. And I'm like, yeah, man, the first thing I would do is sell that key to a website like that.
There you go.
There you go.
And
people get
that also might be the one reason that you never work at Blizzard, but that's just me, man. That's just me.
That's probably why I'll never work at Blizzard. But yeah, that's what I imagine.
No, fair enough. Chris, what do you think, man? Morris.
I think that anyone on the internet, well, not anyone, right? But lots of people, especially in the sort of gaming, entertainment, media space, whatever you want to call it, or just, kids living at home in general. This is a gold mine for them, right? It's they just have to get Steam keys and they turn them into money. So any sort of kind of shady way for them to get a hold of these game keys and turn them into cash, why would GTA or G2A?
I keep saying GTA also.
Yeah. Why would they ever crack down on it? Just do the lip service, say oh yeah, we're totally doing something about it. but really, it makes sense for them to be sort of the unscrupulous merchant on the street corner that's the pawn shop that's willing to buy all your shit from you, no questions asked.
Yeah, it's the guy wearing a trench coat who just opens it up and there's a bunch of Rolex watches hanging from it on the inside, being yo, which game you want, man?
I think his penis hanging out, but I think
maybe
or G2A finally got caught with their penis hanging out by an officer of the law.
Well, how else do you pay for the games?
They're trying to come up with these excuses oh no, sorry, we weren't trying to flash anyone. We didn't realize that our pants were unzipped.
I'm just trying to make a living here, officer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's.
And I think as we've seen from the CS:GO gambling site conspiracies and all.
This is exactly what I was The parallel here is pretty interesting. Yeah.
Just another aspect of that, right, where you have less scrupulous YouTubers and streamers and stuff that are kind of using their position. And I want to a disclaimer. This is not a blanket statement. This is everyone, right? But there is some amount, right, that they'll use their position to kind of take advantage, and it's really harmful to the developers. G2A is kind of partnering with them because it brings more business to their site. Everyone knows what they're doing here, dude. If they say otherwise, then I think that's just kind of a bold-faced lie, honestly.
No, fair enough. I think that's fair. But what's the blanket statement then, though? If we were gonna make one, and I'm not saying we should, but if there are experienced streamers and popular ones that are kind of walking away from this thing, but even while younger ones are getting scooped up by the tidal wave, even G2A has said that their business is growing in light of all of these controversies, right? So is this just is it because people just want cheap games, or is it because streamers and their followings are more interested in the money that comes along with it?
People want cheap games. They want to they want to make money off of swapping out these keys. There's a whole gray market economy with trading CS:GO items for game keys, which they can then turn into cash, right? It's this huge system in place, and they just kind of are helping people to essentially cash out their Steam wallets is what this site is really used for.
No, fair enough. All right, so let me do a quick roundtable really fast. Like, I assume that we all watch some amount, like X amount of Twitch or YouTube, like game streaming. Yes, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So when people tell you that G2A, like if they were to turn around and be like, you know, head over to this site to go like buy this game, like do you feel like that streamers have enough influence to actually drive traffic in that direction for you specifically?
I'll start. No.
Yeah, go ahead. No.
I don't.
Are you too old? You're too old.
I'm too old and cranky, and I hate hard video games. But
you enjoy your bar stool and you just want to play Madden, that kind of thing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
fair enough.
I don't like it. It's just a yes or no.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. I mean, you have a chance to like expound upon it, but I want to move on quickly. So,
all right,
go ahead.
Pass.
Okay. Blanco, what do you think, man? Like if one of your favorite streamers was saying like, now here's a good opportunity to go over to this site and get these keys for this specific game at a super reduced rate. I don't know. Does that influence you in your buying habits?
Oh yeah, I mean, if it's something that missed my radar, I mean, in this economy, people are gonna go for the lower buck. You know,
sure.
There's just a ton of politics. So I mean, it morality kind of goes out the window when you're running into some like fiscal issues like that.
I think that's a very astute point, actually. Yeah, I agree.
So I mean, yeah, does it harm the developer? It could, yeah. But it also boosts the brand as well. So
the brand for who though?
It would be for the developer and publisher, mostly the publisher. But it would get them the funding for another game if it reached enough hands and warranted enough, applause or anything if it was a good game.
Fair enough.
So. I mean, just being in the music industry, that's something we face all the time.
Yeah, well, I think the music industry specifically is a very unique beast when it comes, like, especially in the past like decade or two, where like the whole thing has been changing. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here. I'm sure, but or preaching at the preacher rather. How about that? But Morris, what do you think, man? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm sure you do your fair share of YouTube. Or Twitch watching and following certain streamers and stuff, but like, do you feel like you might be influenced by this decision, like having G2A kind of like double down on their efforts to kind of promote their brand through streamers? You think it's helping them? Do you think it's hurting them? Do you feel like you're under that influence?
No, I mean I've seen them try to influence, try to market their brand through influencers, and I see ads for G2A plastered like almost everywhere as well. But I guess as far as I'm concerned, I don't really I guess I don't really find myself influenced often by other people's opinion on stuff when it's being like marketed to like a large audience. If I inquire about your opinion on something, then I inquire because I'm interested in being influenced by it. But generally, just by being exposed to it, I kind of like don't usually care. I'm more interested in making my own decision about something by collecting information on my own. But I think I'm very different in that regard, right? I think it's very easy, especially like younger gamers on the internet. Again, like Alice said. More like, with a tougher economic situation where this would be a very easy sell for them. And I think that's kind of the target demographic that they're going after, not the target demographic that I am.
No, fair enough. All right. Well, if you're a G2A user, just, I don't know, keep your wits about you, I think is the best way to promote that. I don't know if you're a streamer.
Keep your wits about you.
Keep your wits about you. And if I think... otherwise, like, if you're a streamer and you're partnered with them, hopefully you're getting, your fair share. Hopefully you're not doing something, shady. And look, I hope that there is a place where, like, I go to Overstock.com all the time because I want to discount furniture, I want to discount software and stuff like that. Like, hopefully G2A can continue to exist as a place for discount, video games. Like, that's a cool thing as long as everything's on the up and up. Like,
I'm under, like, no financial obligation or anything to say this, but I'm just actually like a fan of their service. I would say people ought to to go support, sites like Green Man Gaming instead. Honestly,
no, fair enough. And or GOG or whatever.
Model.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I think it's interesting. It's we're talking about maybe not the most interesting conversation, but it's for specifically for a point of like awareness and letting knowing where your money goes, especially when everybody's so fucking critical and so interested in knowing that their money's going towards something that they're actually going to enjoy. Just be careful. Caveat emptor. You know what I mean? That's what they say. Beware what you buy. So.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, it seems like a missed opportunities for developers and publishers to get in on a resource to tap to funnel, their wares to these providers like this, but in timed intervals. So 90 days after launch, 6 months after launch. Once they feel that they've recouped what they need, then they can help out the audience that may not be able to afford the game until it's 2 years later.
No, fair enough. Yeah, run it like a Steam sale kind of thing, but through separate venues. Maybe hitting
like a drip feed.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're probably not wrong about that. I'll give it to you. No, right on. Any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we move on? Number 3.
I just wanted to.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Nick.
Oh, I just wanted to remember
Go ahead.
Joe Arroyo, the other guy, another panelist.
Our producer and publisher, our producer and editor on the show. Yeah.
When I read this story, it reminded me of a story he told me about when he was working at GameStop. He used to have a guy that came in all the time with games to sell, and at one point the guy came in with a bag full of the same game. And they had to just turn them away because they're you obviously stole these games.
Or somebody gave them to you, but they're clearly stolen.
It was a bag full of unopened games, of the same game. And
it was a trash bag of games. Yeah.
It's you obviously stole this from the other GameStop that just got robbed down the street. And you're trying to sell it back to the GameStop. And a site like this is sort of enabling those kind of things. And I feel I don't know, if they had some kind of protection for that, then I'd be more behind them or something. But
this is one of those weird, kind of offshoots of technology in general. When we start opening these, weird economies and having marketplaces for this kind of thing, it's inevitable that somebody's going to try and take advantage of it. And I'm not necessarily saying that G2A is doing that, but there are probably people who are using G2A because it's a peer-to-peer service, or at least has aspects of that are going to try and take advantage of it. No matter what. This is how people get ahead in life, is because they figure out loopholes. That's it. You know what I mean? You can say, being moral and whatever is a good thing, and it is, and you should be. Most people will, but there's that select few that will put that shit aside to make a buck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there you go.
My last thought on this is just, if you want to really keep your ear to the ground on cheap game keys and you want to resell them for cash at a higher price or whatever, that's fine. But you can go to sites like Humble Bundle as well, which we've done in the past for our giveaways.
We will continue to do. Yeah,
we can pick up Steam keys really easily, and they're at often a much cheaper price than they would be on Steam. And at least that way we know some amount of that money is going to go to the developer rather than the kind of the GameStop situation where none of it does.
Right. Or at least to some charity as well, which is kind of an added bonus.
Right.
That Humble Bundle provides.
Mm-hmm.
So. All right.
Number 3.
We're either staring at our phones, computers, or smart TVs, or everything we're doing is connected. Hell, I think I saw a refrigerator at Home Depot the other day that literally needed a Wi-Fi connection to work. But our lives revolve less and less around each other, but what's happening more and more are around the web. To get back to a little reality, folks in the UK are self-imposing 24-hour detox breaks once a week. Not necessarily in a row, but over the course of the week. Meaning no phones, no browsers, no nothing. So much so that almost a third of Brits are doing it. Literally 33%, if not more. I think it was actually up to 36%. It was the last statistic that I read. Is it time that us in the Western Hemisphere and in North America follow their lead? Here's my Brexit joke. Everybody ready? Looks like the EU isn't the only thing they're breaking away from these days. Hey yo. You're welcome. You're welcome,
Also
everybody.
just shaking his head in disgust at your
Topical
terrible
comedy,
joke.
everybody.
Nobody laughed.
Yeah, no, nor should you. It was garbage. Communication industry regulator Ofcom, I'm not sure, said that 1/3 of Brits are enacting self-imposed smartphone and tablet bans for a period averaging about 24 hours cumulatively over the course of a week. They're actually like looking at themselves, looking at their spouses, their children, their friends and loved ones, and being like, I'm going to put this tablet and phone down and pay attention to the things that you have to say, that I am thinking myself. Like, I'm not going to use this device as a distraction, right? Like, I don't know about you guys. I feel like this is actually something I've been struggling with, so this is kind of why this like struck a note with me. But I'm interested to see what you guys have to say.
Life is so boring. I need my phone. I'm kidding. I feel like if you have any kind of like balance, it's not as much of a problem. I mean, maybe.
I think that's the idea here.
I know. I think maybe if you're struggling with time for other things in your life, you're finding ways to cut other things out, and maybe if you're not, using your phone is one of those things that you feel like you use too much, then that's one of those obvious ways, because it's everybody's using their phones. I mean, you might as well cut down on that a little bit. So.
How can you not? It's so useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
Yeah.
Blanco, what do you think, man?
Yeah. With the whole technology thing, I don't really think phones and having an online presence is what is causing like distress or decay on our society. It's really social networks that do that. I mean, I feel technology is paramountly like important now. It's
inescapable for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, inescapable, and it's a utility itself. I mean, it is so important. I mean, the things that we're doing with it are more important than what we're doing with it that's just wasting time. You know, especially with the advances in medicine. You know, technology has just taken over the place. You know, no longer are there like terribly scribbled medical charts by doctors who don't have time to, you know, type it all out. You know, that patients aren't dying from, you know, misdiagnosis because they couldn't read the handwriting. You know, it's created efficiency where there was a much needed, you know, value for that.
Okay. Do you think that efficiency has created like a greater demand though? Like the more and more efficient that we get, like we're actually like spreading ourselves too thin, because it's like, oh well, this program allows me to send out 40 emails at once. Now everybody expects 160 emails, like that kind of thing.
Well, I think companies will always squeeze where they can squeeze. I mean, that's the
fair.
nature,
That's fair.
of that.
Morris, what do you think, man?
I mean,
could you handle 25 like a straight like, I'm not saying that's what they do, like the British are doing here based on the Reuters article, but could you spend 25 hours straight, like a day plus 1 hour away from the internet?
Like every week or what?
Yeah, once a week.
It doesn't even make
day.
sense, dude, because like I use the internet for learning. I use the internet to be productive on things that I like to do or that I enjoy creating. This podcast is a prime example of that. Yes. Sucks up like
we rely on
right
people
there.
to use the internet to hear
I like to make video games. I like to watch media. I like to read books that get delivered to me digitally on my Kindle. Right, there are like all of these internet connected things that I don't necessarily feel are like a waste of time or counterproductive. Hell, dude, I actually like, you know, walking around and playing Pokemon because it forces me to go outside, get some exercise, socialize a little bit.
Yeah, but you're still staring at your phone, presumably playing Pokemon Go.
I totally am.
Yeah,
I totally am. That's fine. But I think
he's walking.
It's like this blanket statement of staring at screens and being on the internet and needing a detox is a little bit silly. I do agree again with all this. We got like a running theme here going. But the social media, like staring at Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat or whatever all day is the aspect of using the internet that I think people need to take a detox from sometimes, or that, you know, you should probably do in moderation, because there's value that comes from it, but I think that value has definite diminishing returns the more time you spend looking at Facebook during an average week versus
so you think
doing anything else with the internet.
So it's okay to use the internet as long as you're using it appropriately. Like, don't necessarily stare at your Facebook feed, but like
not even appropriately, but yeah.
But it's like if you're going to use the internet, go learn something or go use it to communicate
pretty
somehow.
much anything other than sitting on
social
Facebook
media
all day.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, well, it's like people are using Facebook not to see if their neighbor has enough, but to see if their neighbor has more. And that's the problem, and it just creates all sorts of issues. I mean, because marketing tells us we need things, and then Facebook tells us what we don't have, and that's probably exactly why we need that detox from social networks.
Fair enough. So you're saying that the detox is a good idea, Blood Code. You're into that.
As long as you don't...
I'm gonna dip my toe into it.
Okay, yeah, maybe not necessarily 25 hours, but maybe like a little meditation period once a day for an hour or two, where I don't look at my phone or jump on the computer.
I could sign out of Facebook and be okay.
No, I definitely.
It's a start, right? Yeah.
I definitely agree with the social media stuff, but I also think it could apply to like RSS feeds or something, where I'm like constantly checking Flipboard for a new article to see if there's some new information for me to consume.
I'm sure it's a Pokemon Go article.
And then today, like I worked the entire day without even checking it at all, and I come back and there's like 50 new articles. I didn't have to like spend any time during the day to actually check it, and it just suddenly there was more information for me to consume. And it was actually better, I think, that way than just checking Flipboard every like few minutes or something in between compiles or something. But
no, fair enough.
Okay, so I don't remember who used this analogy. Actually, I might want to say I heard this from Cliff, but like checking social media like all throughout the day is kind of like constantly checking your refrigerator. It's like at some point
there's still no food in it. Yeah,
that is one of my favorite things to do.
You already know what's in your refrigerator.
That's right.
Nothing new in there.
I think that's
you keep checking it anyway because you're fucking bored and you don't know what else to do.
That's what I do.
So it's it's actually kind of like an astute observation.
I think that's actually kind of correct. As like the pseudo community, or I am wearing the shoes of a community manager while I'm producing at my current game studio, and I don't post a ton, but I definitely keep my eyes on. I don't bother with Facebook as much, but I definitely keep eyes on Twitter feed because, like, especially today, for instance, where like QuakeCon is happening, so Bethesda's sitting out there like shitting out trailers for new games, and I'm like, okay, I need to keep an eye on this because I'm interested to see what's happening. So I agree with the sense that it's like, there are special occasions like, Olympics are going to start tomorrow, like literally tomorrow, and there are people that may not give a shit about that, but there is stuff that is happening, and social media feeds can service that. I think there's a balance to be. Again, this is what this whole topic is about: is balance, right? Like, yes, it's kind of like looking in your refrigerator and realizing that the same amount of or lack of food is there, but at the same time, you're kind of like, well, shit, man, there wasn't a fucking Quake, championship trailer yesterday. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but it didn't change your life to know that that championship trailer was out today. I mean, you could have checked.
No, it didn't. Yeah. But like part of my job is kind of like keeping a beat on what's happening in the industry.
I definitely understand
and now
that,
it's starting to get very specific, and that kind of like takes away from the point. But I guess my point is like taking a break now and then is probably a very good idea. If you miss something, you'll
catch up.
You can Google it and find it, and you'll be fine ultimately. So.
Just a little off topic, but you mentioned it. I mean, because we're talking about the Olympics, and I just can't help but think, would it not be so rad if the toxicity of the Rio Olympics, right, was just a huge viral marketing campaign for a new Toxic Avenger movie reboot?
Wow. Not only was that off topic, but that is like super deep right now, and I'm kind of into it. I gotta be honest with you. Yeah. Animated or not? Animated or live action?
No, this would be live action. I mean, they're coming out of the water during the swim.
Right. He's walking up the beach
or whatever it's called.
Talking like the new like Ninja Turtles movie style of live action.
Yeah,
right. Just overblown, very Michael Bay, that kind of thing. All right, yeah. I'm with it. All right, gentlemen. Well, I don't know.
So you want to say yes to this? Like, you think people should spend less time?
It's not that I think people should spend less time. I think people should strive for a better balance between their connected internet lives versus their ones. Like, for me, I'm married and I have a child. You know what I mean? Like, there are times when I find myself, like, my kid's watching TV or he's playing with toys and my wife is in the kitchen or something, and I'm like, I should probably be playing with my kid right now, but I'm staring at my phone. You know what I mean? And then I literally put my phone in my pocket. I'm like, hey, let's play with some Legos or, some Batman superheroes or whatever. And I'm like, this should not be a choice. Like, I should just be doing this. Like,
that's more fun too. You're having more fun. Also, probably.
Yeah, because I'm having like a human interaction. You know what I mean? So
no, man, that's huge, dude. That's huge. I mean, that guilt. Like, if it makes you feel guilty, like you're like,
then you're on the right track.
My son something more important, or my kid. I could be teaching them anything.
Yeah.
But I'm on here because I want to see if someone's gonna post something.
Right, because I'm on Imager being like, yo, what horrible shit is happening? Like, what Trump meme can I laugh at today? You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
I just want to say that narcissism has completely canceled out that guilt feeling, though. Like, you just feel like you don't have to.
I don't know if it has, though. Like, I don't know if it's canceled out, but like, they are literally, it's like a civil war in my brain. Like, my narcissism and my desire to be like a good parent and human being, like, are absolutely at odds all the time.
Like Iron Man and Captain America.
A little bit. It's a civil war. This message brought to you by Marvel Comics. Yeah. So, all right.
I don't like the answer. Everything in moderation. Like, I feel like that's the answer for everything.
But it is
the answer for everything. But let's get it works. I feel like we need a definitive answer. So it's like, maybe. I don't know. I was just kidding.
If you want a definitive answer, I think it's specific to each person. Then, like there are some people that could probably do just fine. Like Nick, for instance, you are single. Mm-hmm. You don't have a child. You could probably spend a lot more time online and feel less guilty about it than I can.
True.
Yeah.
True story.
So your balance is a bit different than mine.
And I think that's a very important point to make. But, like, it's 35% of people in Britain that are like, hey, let's take a break from this.
Yeah, there's a lot of people feeling that they should probably do less things on their phones or their tablets. Yeah.
It really coincides with the Brexit kind of thing. Like, oh, we need a break from this. We need a break from that.
So you're saying the British are lazy? They're just trying to fucking take a break from everything.
they just need a moment themselves.
I see what you did there. Fair enough.
Well, no, he's right. I mean, they did a poll after the whole Brexit thing, and like 70% didn't even know what the EU was.
Right.
That voted.
Yeah.
Maybe they should spend more time on the internet.
That was the 70% that wasn't on social media.
It's elephant uranium, guys. Elephant uranium.
Like, yeah, fuck the EU.
All right. I think. All right. We're coming to the tail end of the episode here, so we might as well move on to the lightning round. Panel, it's time. Here's how it works. We're going to take 2 quick topics and give each member of the panel a minute to chime in, uninterrupted for the most part. At the end of each minute, we will award the panelist a quantity of some type of points based on nothing in particular. Our distinguished guest, in this case Blood Code, will give me points based on my minutes. So that's how this is going to work. So, topic the first. While Niantic gets things fixed up on Pokemon Go, it's very important to note that perhaps its biggest critic has a very specific bone to pick with it. Russian communist authorities have voiced their concern that Pokemon Go is a CIA conspiracy to brainwash the youth into revolt. People are getting arrested playing it. They're also worried it's an intelligence gathering tool. So what if they're right? Couldn't we use a better made game to spy on the Russians? If so, which one? And how is communism still even a fucking thing? You've got a minute to explain this to me. I'm going to pitch the first minute to Mr. Golish here. Hey, you have 60 seconds to talk to me about Pokemon Go being a CIA conspiracy against the Russians.
I feel like it would be more productive if Pokemon Go were a CIA CIA conspiracy. Like, I don't know. It's pretty interesting that, I don't know, it just kind of like gives you like an insight on the state of what Russia's actually like right now. Because like they're just blaming shit on this, like invading Ukraine and
hacking and DNC.
Yeah, shit. Trump doesn't even know they're in Ukraine yet, and it's just. It's a mess, but it's is Pokemon a conspiracy to spy on Russia? Sure, why not?
Sure,
yeah,
I like it.
I think so. Probably because I can't think of any like Russian themed Pokemon names right now. Like there's so many. There's like 800 Pokemon, and I'm trying to think of a good one.
It's like War Turtle. It's fine.
Yeah, War Turtle.
Like, I am Charizard.
In Russia, Pokemon catch you.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I award you a fixed copy of Pokemon Go, and that you can play on your phone, to your heart's content.
But I gotta take a break.
Okay.
Once in a while.
Well,
go outside and see the world.
Only if you're British, but yeah, that's fine. Mr. Morris. You have 60 seconds to talk to me about Pokemon Go being a CIA conspiracy in Russia.
So I used to think that it was a CIA or NSA information gathering tool when it needed full access to my Google account.
Yeah.
But it turns out that was just a bug. And so they patched it. And now it only needs my email address. So, I mean, I guess not. I guess it's just a game to play for fun. Because I don't know what all they're going to do with just having access to read my email address. Probably not too much. Send me emails about Pokeball sales and I don't know where all my Pokemon went when I got the candies back. Maybe pictures of the farm that they roam around on now happily playing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So
that'd be something to say.
I don't know. I think it's too... They just... Russia's kind of like that cranky old man on the internet that's just like, these fucking kids out here wasting their time playing
Get off
Pokemon.
my lawn, yeah.
And those they're hard video games.
All right.
Really, they don't realize that it's actually like good for you.
I'm gonna. God damn it! I want to award you something really good, and I had it in my head, and now it's gone because I've.
The Kremlin.
Sure. Here's a bunch of onion domes. Your hair mildly resembles an onion dome, so that
Not
I guess
really,
that
but
kind of
thank
makes
you.
sense. No, I know, but like the blue and the black, like spiraling up, it could be a Kremlin dome, dude.
All right.
All right, fair enough. All right, I will take the next one. So, Blood Code, get ready to award me some value of points after 60 seconds. Here we go.
Okay.
So here's the deal, right? So Pokemon Go, supposedly the Russians are afraid that it's a CIA intelligence gathering tool or something that's going to persuade their youth into revolting. Let's understand that this comes specifically from the remnants of the Communist Russian Party, and that communism is still somehow a thing.
It's silly.
Again, communism, awesome on paper, in practice, not so much. But what needs to be understood is this: if I can go to the Kremlin and capture like a Zapdos or a Pikachu or whatever, that's a cool thing. Like, I want to get my picture taken with my own Pokemon as I'm catching it, like doing that whole whatever. There's nothing for Russia to be afraid of because the company that runs Pokemon Go can't even really run Pokemon Go. As a message to our Russian brethren, don't be that concerned.
It's not. Is it even released in Russia? Like if it
is, then people are getting fucking arrested. There are cases of people getting arrested playing Pokemon Go because people are or at least that's what the article insinuated, that that people are getting arrested because they're afraid that like it's some sort of fucking conspiracy theory from the West to take. Who gives a shit? I don't know. Russia, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
Just so Russia knows, we are trying to take over their country with Pokemon Go.
Right. Well,
we are trying to do that. It's a.
The Russians just hacked the DNC emails, and we all
they
learned
should know
what a bitch Hillary is and how they fucked over Bernie and all that and whatever. It's fine. We're not going to get political on this show. We're not going to do it. It's fine. Blood Code, you're allowed to award me some arbitrary amount of points for that bullshit minute.
Yeah. You get 100 Poke coins and 10 revives, but your bag is full.
Well done. That was pretty good. Well done.
That's perfect.
All right. Bloodcoat, you have the final minute here for this particular topic. Give us a minute. Give us 60 seconds on why Pokemon Go is a CIA intelligence gathering tool is A, ridiculous, B, hilarious, or awesome. I don't know. You can just talk about whatever the fuck you want for 60 seconds if you'd like.
Okay. Well, I mean, the idea that Pokemon, a game called Pokemon, would be a U.S. threat to Russia via the CIA is ridiculous. I mean, nothing about that game screams, made in America. You know what I mean? Now, if we were airdropping copies of America Online, to Russia for them to use, I could see them panicking and being like, oh, the CIA is going to break in our door. Sure. It's America Online, whatever. But yeah, Pokemon Go, it's harmless. I mean, like everyone's saying, it's broke. It's not even working, I mean, before they would catch any intelligence, it would flee on them, so
or freeze, crash.
I mean, if the servers were working, I'd be worried, but Russia doesn't need to worry about that.
I award you 1,000 hours on a CD-ROM of your favorite browser. Waiting for you to log in.
Net zero.
Net zero. Yep.
That's pretty good. All right, topic the second. One of the best things about being an old and grumpy old man is that you get to remember the heyday of video game magazines, specifically Nintendo Power. All the level breakdowns, cheat codes, fan art, and rad posters. It was great stuff. I hope that all of us at least once thumbed through a Nintendo Power lovingly enough to understand that there's only one thing better than this, and that might be a Playboy or Penthouse, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? But regardless, the timing here is cool because 13 years of issues are now available online, just in time for you to get your mini NES out there, like the non-cartridge running 30 game packed whatever, and have all the guides you need right at your fingertips. So give me a minute here on your favorite gaming, what your favorite gaming magazines were, because I do understand that there might be some gap here. I'm probably the oldest guy in the room, but I am curious to hear what you guys think was worthwhile, how it might have helped you in your gaming pursuits, what you think the equivalent is today, and I don't know, give me a good throwback story at best. I want to end the episode on a high note, so let's dig deep here, fellas. All right, Mr. Morris, I'm giving you the first minute.
Oh shit! All right,
60 seconds
this
starting
might
now.
90 seconds, but I'll try to keep it
Go
close.
ahead.
All right, so I actually have fond memories of GamePro and PSM, but mainly GamePro, which was my first actual proper gaming magazine. And in an issue of GamePro, I actually read about this little place called DigiPen many years ago, and there was an article about how to become a game developer. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I kind of want to do that someday. And then so I did that, and then now I make video games, and I guess that kind of worked out okay. So I have very fond memories of video game magazines, most especially GamePro magazines. So shout out to those fucking guys.
Fuck yeah. No, right on. I'm going to award you 1 college degree in game design.
Does it cost me $120,000, or do I get it for free just for that minute?
I'm going to tell you that it costs you nothing, but you still have to pay your current student loans.
Fuck.
You can forbear.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Forbearance.
All right, cool.
It'll affect your credit, but at least you give you some leeway. You know what I mean? It's good. Mr. Golish.
Hey, how's it going?
I'd like you to give me 60 seconds on the current topic.
All right. Let's see. I think one of the earlier video game magazines I remember buying was
Informer?
No, it wasn't Game Informer. Game Informer was the one that you always got from GameStop. Yeah, and it was always biased against Nintendo. They never had any Nintendo reviews or good Nintendo reviews in it. It was Game Entertainment Monthly or something, or Game something.
Oh, I think I know the one you're talking about. Yeah,
it wasn't even that great, but I feel though the things I remember about it all the time was I was a teenager. They always had the Lara Croft pictures on the front or something with the big pointy boobs. And I was like, this is great because, you know, I'm basically buying like this
porn mag, but like it's not real porn, so and you can't get mad at me.
It's like it's video games and porn at the same time. It's like, it's okay. And I think they had a few cool, like really like good guides for like some JRPGs at some times or something. But other than that, Nintendo Power, I don't know. I never really got into it that much. I wasn't a Nintendo fanboy. Nintendo was not the first system I owned. I don't think I actually owned any Nintendo systems besides a Wii, maybe. I started with Sega Genesis, which Sonic's better than Mario anyways because ADD. But
go fast.
Go fast. Must go faster. I just remember the whole stint with Nintendo like ended a few years ago and everything, and it's really cool. Like they're all available online now.
I don't know what to award you. You know what I want to award you? I want to award you a clean pass through security at an airport because I want you to get to the Hudson News where you can pick up any gaming magazine that still exists
today
of your choice for free and with little headache.
How
about that?
I don't need that. I have my smartphone.
Fair enough. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so I'm gonna take the second to last minute, and then we will graciously give Blood Code our last minute here in a second. But here we go. I think the fact that Nintendo Power is available for people to look at, I think anybody out there in the world who wants to be a level designer for platformers or understand where Nintendo was coming from the Zelda aspect or Mario aspect, or if you want to reference Duck Hunt or any of those, like Metroid, for instance, like these are the magazines you need to read because like they have full level layouts, like understanding how a 2D platformer works, how to instruct a player, how to like learn mechanics, how to teach how the game works. Like this is a perfect fucking resource. And you know what? It's also a great history lesson on how not to style your hair, how not to dress, and how not to call in and submit fan art that sucks fucking balls. However, what is cool about it is that this was a very, very early indicator about what the community that was gonna like spawn out of like just loving video games in the first place. It's a perfect Smithsonian type relic of a, like, you know, that mid '80s the Wizard like movie Mario 3, like I'm an autistic kid that's gonna fucking figure out how this shit works and bang it out. Like it's a triumph, and the fact that they've actually made it live digitally gives me less reason to take a break from the internet and make me want to go back and be like, I remember all those Nintendo Powers that I got in the mail and all the posters that I carved out, like the original Final Fantasy, Legend of Zelda, Mario Brothers on the wall. There's a Duck Hunt poster over here. I don't know. It was super nostalgic for me, and so maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. If anybody's out there trying to get like game dev, that kind of thing, or at least an indie game dev, Nintendo Power is a powerful resource. That's all I'm saying.
I see what you did there.
What with the powerful?
Power.
It's power.
Powerful power.
Blood Code, you get to award me my points, and then you get to take the last minute. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. No. You win a free Super Nintendo for calling the 1-800 number at the right time.
Yes. Those purple, those light purple, like the lilac versus light purple buttons, and the initial instance of bumpers. Let us not forget. Just saying. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. All right, so you have 1 minute, Blood Code, to tell me how you feel about Nintendo Power being available online, or why this is cool, why it's not cool, why you don't give a shit, whatever you want.
I feel pretty great about it. I mean, I'm surprised no one's mentioned Electronic Gaming Monthly. You know,
that was the one I was trying
I think
to
that's
say.
the one that Nick was referring to, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm like, that was paramount. I mean, I love these magazines. I mean, I subscribed to both. I was a fiend about them. And my favorite story about these magazines existing isn't even my own, but I got to be a part of it 14 years later. So a friend of mine in that I worked with in product testing, he was telling me about this time trial he was trying to beat for GoldenEye that he read in the April issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly. And he spent a whole summer trying to beat it and get that time trial, and so he could get the last like achievement or whatever that was in the game. it was like a hidden one. And our coordinator actually worked on that title, and he told us, he's like, yeah, man, he's like, that's really weird. I just never heard about that achievement. And so, I did some research, and my friend never bought the May issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly that told him it was an April Fool's joke.
Oh, shit.
14 years later.
Joke's on you, motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the sickest burn. And I got to tell him what a fucking loser he was for wasting 3 months of his summer.
Oh my
Dude,
God.
I'm sure that was hella satisfying for you, but that was, honestly, even after all this time, that was really satisfying for me just to hear that. So, well done.
That was amazing. I was kind of like, I don't know where this story is going. Like, damn, it went there. That's fucking awesome.
That was way longer than a minute, and I have no problem with that.
Well,
No, it was great.
Completely engaged.
Yep. Fantastic story. In fact, I award you the N64 blown up as a giant musical controller. It's whatever you want. You want it to be a guitar? It can be a guitar. You want it to be a sampler? It can be a sampler. There you go. A giant N64 controller. I just want to see you spinning the joystick with one hand, like tucked under your arm somehow, like just rocking out a Blood Code show, just doing that somehow. That would be amazing.
We know where the other hand is. So.
You're damn right. You're damn right.
Enjoy that, Morris. Enjoy it. All right, gentlemen, we've done it. Episode 106 is in the can. Blood Code, thank you again for being here. We really appreciate it, man. It was awesome talking with you. Keep making cool stuff, man, because we're going to keep listening to it. And can I ask you a personal question really quickly?
Yeah, fine.
Do you mind if we try and use one of your songs for the episode? Would you mind? Horribly? Is that cool?
Yeah, just let me know which one. I actually told Chris that I'd be happy to write you guys a jingle if you need it.
Motherfucker. All right, well, then you know what? I don't want to use one of your songs. I want to hear the goddamn jingle.
Well, he's got to write. We got to release. He's got to write the jingle.
Right, you have 6 hours. How about that? Okay.
That's a tight deadline, dude. That's a super tight deadline.
No, that's cool. We appreciate it, man. Honestly, it was super fun talking to you, and I don't know. Let everybody know where they can come see you at your next show, or where they can find you on the web, because they're not taking a hiatus from their internet addiction.
Yeah, just Google search Blood Code Music, because if you just do Blood Code, you're going to get a shitty love simulator pop-up that just launched on Steam, so I'm fighting some SEO on that. I made bloodcode.de. All
right. Any, you want a Twitter handle or anything like that out there?
Yep, everything's Blood Code Music.
All right.
So Instagram, Twitter, it's just / Blood Code Music.
Go get that Chiptunes, motherfucker, man. Everybody, we can't recommend it to you highly enough. Make sure you get out there and check it out. All right, and if you're in the Tacoma area, stalk him religiously. Go show up at his house. I'm sure he'd love it. It'd be great. Please don't do that. Please.
It's a Pokestop.
It's a Pokestop. All right. Well, thank you for being here, dear listener, and let us know that we're always curious to hear what you think. Hit us up at cheatcodespodcast.com, Facebook, Twitter. Get in the conversation. We also recommend that you hit up bloodco.de for your own good. That'll do it for us for now. Make sure to check out the Patreon page. You can become a Patreon for as little as $2 a month. So if you're into the show, help us out. We've got behind-the-scenes episodes coming, and a new one in the next week or two, I'm pretty sure. Game Nate's on Steam if you're in that donor bracket, and you name it, man. There's a bunch of fun stuff happening, so get in on the fun. Check the page for all the rewards, and you can choose your own level of involvement. Thanks to everyone who's jumped on board so far. We'll see you next week. Blood Code, thank you, sir, very much.
Thank you.
Cheers, dude.
All right. We'll see you next week? Maybe?
Yes, of course.
Oh, my God.